Hey guys, so after the release of Thor Love and Thunder, fans are getting more and more annoyed with Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, aka the MCU, for various reasons, which we'll actually go through and discuss in this video. But yeah, we're going to discuss and sort of debate, perhaps, I'm not really sure, what's wrong with Phase 4 of the MCU. So we're just going to get straight into it. We don't want to waste any time. And yeah, but before we do, please like, subscribe, and share, and drop us a comment down below with your views and thoughts throughout what we talk and all that. So, but yeah, let's just get started. So I think the first thing we're just going to say, quick yes or no is there anything wrong with Phase 4? Grace, is there anything wrong with Phase 4?
Yes. Well, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna say no. So I guess Grace, we'll explore it. Don't worry. Don't worry. Grace is feeling like
I don't want to be too negative. I'm just gonna say there is some bits that they need to look into.
Yeah. Okay, so next of all, we're just going to discuss all of the Phase 4 movies, so the 2021 movies, the TV shows. So those are including the ones that we've already talked about in the Marvel 2021 reaction, which you should check out. And we're also going to do another one for 2022 at the end of 2022, of course, because there's still so much. But yeah, so we're going to talk about everything from Phase 4. So we're going to start off with WandaVision. So that was, like I said, the first Phase 4 project and actually the first Disney Plus TV show. And I thought it was great. I absolutely loved it until the last episode, because the last episode for me was rushed, like completely rushed. And the end credit, like it just felt like it was missing that inclusion of like a big villain like Mephisto or even Chiton. Like it felt like it came to such a big point and then it just went, but yeah. Grace?
I sort of agree. I mean, like you say, it's the first project of the whole Phase 4. And I love WandaVision. And I think the whole project was just about like Wanda's like character development and how she actually became much better and stronger. Because look, she was a badass in the show. And we kind of already knew that Agatha was somehow the villain. I don't really have any like problems with the show per se. And I wouldn't say the ending was rushed. I would just think like because each episode is just like knowing what was happening or the characters, and the ending was just about big fight. But I do kind of agree. Like I felt like in the mid credits, like there wasn't much. Like we just knew that Wanda was like looking through the dark hold book or something, and like then we hear Kid's voice and it just opens up something. We don't know much or what was happening. We also got like a clue about secret invasion, but that was really it. But I wouldn't say there was much of a problem in that show, to be honest. But
Next up, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Grace?
Yeah, I gotta be honest, I was a little bit bored in the beginning, just like because there was so much happening. I just feel like during the first few episodes, it was a bit slow, and then we get the cliffhangers, and then they were great, and then midway we got like drama, we got like fights and action and blood, and then yeah, it starts to get a bit interesting until episode 5, which was all right. The final fight was actually pretty good, although I felt like there was a drop about like the villain, like Sam wasn't fighting Carly, I think, and then Sharon, like what's her true motives? Like she's planning something in government. I mean, it's a bit complex and a bit confusing. I mean, it's great, like in these shows we got to see the characters, but I felt like there was this felt like it's not starting up something. I mean, like for Sam becoming Captain America, it might start like Avengers again, but I'm not sure where if it's gonna lead up to something like with Sharon or anything, or Bucky or just anything.
Yeah.
Just
for me, it was too slow of a start, like you said, Grace.
Mm.
I completely agree. But like you said, it had an awesome ending. I really enjoyed the ending. And yeah, we haven't seen Sharon Carter since, but we've had a mention of Madripoor from Moon Knight, if you've caught that. And then we've also seen Valentina since. So, and we also know Captain America 4 is coming. So, yeah.
All right, and next up is Loki. So, Emily?
Yeah, it had a good start and it introduced Kang, who is going to be a massive baddie for phase 4 to 6 for the Multiverse Saga. And yeah, it was, I don't know, I struggled to get into it. I don't know, I grew bored. I know loads of people loved it and stuff, but I really just couldn't connect to it after episode 3, or was it during episode 3, like some point
No,
during
yeah,
there?
it was episode 3. Like, it got
Yeah.
a bit downhill. Yeah, the ending was, I mean, not the beginning was great.
Mhm.
Just, and then midway just started, I don't know, getting a bit slow, because I think we all kind of knew like they were gonna try to get Loki and Sylvie together. Half of us was okay, half of us think
I
no.
think you know which one I'm on.
And then the ending, oh, the ending was just a bit baffled, like them fighting again, and then like, because we I don't think if any of you know, but like there was going to be more episodes until COVID, and they had to split it in two, like half of the episodes, so be more, be another 6 episodes in season 2. So, but I get it, the ending wasn't exactly what we wanted, but I kind of get it because of like the progress in the filming. But I wouldn't say it'd be my top favorite. I just think uh like I felt like it was just a bit clear, if that makes sense. Like there wasn't so many twists or turns, like Loki and Sylvie, and they're just like fighting along, trying to go up against the TV. What's the name? What's the name again of the
TVA.
TVA? Sorry. The one bit I really like was seeing like the other Lokis come together because it's just, yeah. I think that was kind of like the first thing about like the multiverse, like so
Yeah.
different variants, variants. So yeah, it was great. I mean, it was good.
Right. Next up is Black Widow. Grace?
Yeah. If any of you don't know, Black Widow is possibly is my favorite character. She's great, and I love her, and I'm really pleased that we actually get to see her origin story, because she deserved it. No other woman in the MCU deserved it more than her. And I'm just saying, no. In the beginning, that probably others who do. Just leave it there, because she's the first female Avenger, and she and Captain Marvel got it before her. So come on, let's be a bit generous. But one disappointment thing I do, what I think, and I think Emily, you might agree with me, because I think you mentioned first, is that her story doesn't have a big impact on the whole phase, because while it's great to see she's finally got a solo film, she it doesn't really give much big impact. Like we know her sister is going to be part of something, like maybe like in the next, what we see in Hawkeye, but like that's really it. Like Black Widow doesn't really have a means to the end, and I feel like the final battle of the film, like where we get to see the reveal of Taskmaster, I felt disappointed, because I thought, I just like, it was just a daughter of um what's the guy's name? Oh god, how can I keep forgetting people's names? Draco. No.
Dracov. Yeah, Dracov.
Jacob, yeah. So I'm sorry, I'm really forgetting names. Sorry. um I just felt disappointed, because I thought if they want to do something linked to the comics, maybe it's gonna be something like another family member, or maybe cloning Natasha. I don't know. I just didn't feel like a big twist for me. Like it didn't feel like speechless or anything. So I mean, I love the character and I love the film, but in the end of the day, it was a bit meaningless.
Yeah, completely agree. Like, it was a good story. I really enjoyed it. I wasn't a big fan of Black Widow, and this made me a fan, though for what reason, not really sure, because like Grace said, it's a little too late. It should have come out not in phase 4, it should have come out in phase 2, phase 3.
Yeah.
And yeah, the only good thing was we got to see Valentina again, and she seems to be recruiting, and she assigns Yelena her next target, which was Clint Barton, Hawkeye, and probably gonna have a link to the Thunderbolts. Oh, sorry, but yeah, it's not really else much known.
And the next up is What If. So Emily.
Yeah. I'm not really. We're still not really sure how this is all related to the MCU. Whether it is, whether it's not. It might be related sometime later, but it seems more like a standalone. But it is an amazing series, and what I hate is that every single time it gets to the good part, it ends. It's like, I really want to know what if then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't care if it's related to the MCU. I just know it's just filled with stories, really. Like, what if this happens? What if that? It's just so fun. It's very creative and imaginative. So, I loved it to bits. And I do agree. Like, every time it comes to the end, it's when it gets more interesting. So, it's a shame. Please, I hope they do sequels after that, because we need to know what happens after the episode.
Yeah. All right, next up is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Grace?
Okay. This is possibly one of my favorite Marvel films, like in the top 5 or something, because this is unbelievable. I can't see any faults in this. Like, it's amazing. It's full of action. Like, the cinematography in it is incredible. I really like this film. Anyone who hasn't seen it or doesn't know Marvel, just watch it. It's still great. And yeah, I think it's just brilliant.
Yeah, completely agree. It's action-packed, like Grace said. Like, I think it's one of the best of 2021 and of Phase 4, like, it's fair to say. It's got Wong, it even had Captain Marvel in it, it had Hulk in it had Abomination in it. So we've also got to see characters that we hadn't seen for a while. But yeah, we're still not really sure how much of a link this has to the wider MCU, but time will tell.
Yeah, remember, it's just the beginning, so.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, and the next one is Eternals. Emily?
Oh, yeah, I love this one. I know loads of people didn't like it, but I absolutely loved it. It is completely different from the usual MCU movies. You cannot compare it to any single one of them, apart from them having sort of like a MCU sort of thing. But anyway, yeah. Yeah, loads of people said there wasn't enough character development, and yeah, I sort of agree, sort of see it, but then sort of like, that's why there's got to be Eternals too. But yeah, we got introduced to Star Fox, Blade, Black Knight, or also known as Dane Whitman. And yeah, it's I think out of all of the Phase 4 projects we've had, it's got like the best link to the MCU, like to the wider MCU. So yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I like it. I really like it. I think this was a really good film. It's new, it's different. Who wouldn't like it? I do get why people don't like it. They say it's just like a lack of screen time, because of it. Like, I do think, like, in some characters we don't see them develop over the film, like throughout the journey, and I do understand that and I do get it, but at the same time, like, there's so many characters. You need the right time to, like, see them. And the one thing I'm not disappointed in this, but the one thing that really shocked me was Harry Styles in this film. I seen him in Dunkirk. I just thought, okay, in small films, but I never expected him to be in something this big. Why is he in this big? Oh, but yeah, it's been pretty interesting to see where that's going to lead.
Next up is Hawkeye. Grace?
This is a great film because, like Black Widow, Hawkeye is not really appreciated much. He's like a side character, and get to see and him with his own show is great. And Kate Bishop, I love her. She's great. Yeah, I don't think it was slow or like the other TV shows. I thought it was great. It had a right time. It was great to see the two characters get together and work together. And I and I don't see much problems really. All I know is that like what impact they're gonna bring in is that like bringing like the young Avengers, like Kate Bush, she's gonna be a member, and another great thing is that it has more links to the Marvel Netflix TV shows. So we had Kingpin in it, which was great, and yeah, it's gonna be really exciting to see what else they're gonna do like afterwards. Like Kate Bush is gonna take up the role of Hawkeye now.
Yeah, definitely. It's nice just seeing Clint and his wife as well, Laura, who turns out to be Mockingbird, which was amazing. And yeah, Grace said it perfectly. Nice intro to Kate Bishop, and we get to see Elena again, and Kingpin for the Daredevil lovers like me. That was perfect. But yeah, it was an amazing show. Yeah, one of the best of 2021, and Phase 4 as well, I'd say.
And Spider-Man No Way Home, Emily.
Yeah, this is the stuff of childhood dreams. If you grew up watching Spider-Man, this is the one that you're gonna love. It was nice getting to see the baddies and Spider-Man you grew up watching, whether that was Andrew Garfield, whether that was Tobey Maguire, like it was for me. And yeah, for me, while it was still a good movie, like don't get me wrong, it was a good movie. I think it was only good because I think what happened was loads of people were just too hyped about it because of the previous Spider-Mans. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing or anything, but I'm saying I feel like at one point in the film it just sort of went down for me. And it was only good because of the original trilogy from Sam Raimi. And I guess also another thing was that it led into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which was really nice. What else? It also brought in Venom into the MCU, which was really cool, but we've had no mention since, so who knows what's going on there. But yeah. Grace?
I love this film. This is probably just my best. I love it. It's great. We've got all three Spider-Mans. Shame that they didn't bring in the Sinister Six, and yeah.
She's still a bit salty about that.
I am. They should have brought it in. Venom should have been in the final fight, but God, it was great. It was emotional. I really love it. And yeah, the impact of this one is like it's introduced the multiverse, and it'd be quite interesting to see like what else is gonna like lead into, because you never know, we might see more villains coming into the MCU. But yeah, it's great.
Yeah. All right, next up is Moon Knight.
Right, if you guys love Indiana Jones or National Treasure, then you definitely love this, about exploring in Egypt and so many mysteries and action, a bit supernatural, but we get to that. It's great. I think it's actually one of the best TV shows Marvel has produced, because this is something new, it's something different, and the character is he's a very Mark is a or Stephen, just they're all great. And I think they approach the topic of like people with DID or like multiple personality disorder a very good approach, because it just shows like it's like I don't know, just like I don't know, it's just really great, just nice to explore that. And like the whole story is great about, because we saw northern gods, we get to see Egyptian gods, and it's just fantastic. Like the story, it's a bit. It felt like one of those Marvel Netflix shows, because it's a bit like dark and all that, but it's funny, it's great, it's emotional. I really can't wait for season 2. I hope there's a season 2, because there's so much to explore with this project.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love it.
Yeah. We knew getting into this that this would actually be separate to the MCU, so no surprise there. because the rating is like Grace said, it's a bit more violent. It's not the usual, and it's not really appropriate for kids. So sort of separate, but hopefully we'll see how it links. But there were references to the MCU, like I said, Mad Rapport. We had that before, and I definitely agree. It is the best Disney Plus show that we've had so far, like hands down. I watched those first 2 episodes like over 10 times each, and I mean that just shows how good it is. And the end, the link to Jake as well, which was teased,
Yeah,
and we
that
finally
was
had that.
great.
That was amazing. So we definitely are going to see Moon Knight at some point. Who knows when?
And next up is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, this was our first horror movie. They are really going with the different genres and stuff. But yeah, for someone who hates horror, like it was fine. We also got to see the Illuminati, which was amazing. We got introduced to Clea in Incursions, which has a link to Avengers Secret Wars, which I was going to say maybe, but now it's been confirmed. So that's amazing. And it was good looking to Scarlet Witch as well, because we saw a whole different side to her. We saw the Scarlet Witch. We didn't see Wanda Maximoff. And it's probably going to link to the Agatha show. So yeah, this one had actually quite decent links to upcoming stuff in the Multiverse Saga.
Yeah, I agree. This is basically like a horror show, like walking to a circus of terror. And yeah, it's great. The CGI was good, the story was great. I'm really quite surprised they made Wanda into the villain, because I always thought like she was always like seen as like a bad guy, but she's actually quite a good person. And I don't know why. It's quite interesting how they changed her character arc, but I do hope we get to see her, because she gives us so much more in the MCU. And yeah, just I always thought like from the trailer she was a good like she's gonna be like a good person, but I thought there's gonna be like a big villain review, like you said in WandaVision, about like a Mephisto or something. Just I don't know. We keep hearing mentions of that guy, and he never appears. Oh,
Hiding somewhere.
but yeah, but yeah, it's great. And America Chavez, she's a great. The actress who played her was really good. Uh so yeah, I think it is good. It's really good.
So next one is Miss Marvel. Chris?
Yeah, this is like Peter Parker, but except a female, and she's really funny and very enthusiastic. She's great. I love her, and because I've heard of her stories in the comics, and I'm really excited to see her come out. And I really love it. I love the character arcs. I love like the storylines in it. One annoying thing that really bugs me is the ending. Like there wasn't much of like a big villain hero fight, if you know what I mean. Because I thought she was gonna fight with Karen. Oh, that was her name. Cameron, sorry. And I don't know. I thought like he got powers. I thought it was gonna be a big fight off, but nothing. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's still good. Annoying another thing, because I didn't get why they changed her powers. Because I thought she was gonna be like Mr. Fantastic, just stretchy and all that. I didn't know it's just like the CGI, if it was gonna be difficult. But her new powers are good. I just still felt a bit disappointed that they haven't like followed the comic stories. And I've also felt like the ending was a big twist, because I was waiting, like I was on my edge thinking like Inhumans, when are they gonna mention it? And then when they say about the mutants, like mutation, I'm like, oh, they're bringing this in. I mean, I thought, great, we're getting the mutants into the MCU, but I also felt disappointed because, I mean, the Inhumans were quite like a small like project, and like no one really heard or like appreciate the show. We like them, but I thought like if they bring in back like Miss Marvel, I thought like we're gonna like see them again, like they're gonna give them like a more bigger spot in the spotlight. But now, I mean, I don't know. I think it's a good show. I just felt like there was so many missing scenes they could have done, or missing moments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't have high hopes for it. Grace can vouch for that. I literally didn't have high hopes for the show at all. And it exceeded it as easily. I loved it, and yeah, I know people are still annoyed that her powers weren't comic accurate, but I actually don't mind it. At the end of the show, I'm sort of okay with it. And Grace said, I'm not a fan that she's a mutant. Really, I liked how it was distant from the Inhumans, but I eventually was thinking that it was going to link to it, but it didn't. So that's annoying. But I guess the good thing is we do have the mutants in the MCU now, which we should probably have a movie coming out in Phase 6, hopefully. But yeah, and we've also got a link to the Marvels. So there we go. And the bangle Miss Marvel has, it also has a link to the Kree. So it's definitely going to have a massive link to the Marvels. And yeah.
Yeah. And last but not least, Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yep, I actually love this movie. I know this is the one that put most people at odds with the MCU, with Phase 4. And yeah, I agree. It was a bit too funny, but it also had its deep, tender moments, which were horrible to watch points. But yeah, my main criticism with it was I really wanted to see more of Gore. They brought in such an amazing villain, and we had him for what, like 10 minutes it seemed, and he left. He died. I wanted to see him butchering the gods. I wanted to see a lot more. I wanted to see a lot more gore and stuff.
Horror.
Yeah, but I guess that is another thing to do with the rating because, for kids,
Yeah, but if you get that scary horror theme from Doctor Strange into Thor: Love and Thunder, then it would be perfect. Yeah, I agree. I love this film. I love to see the romance between Thor and Jane connect again. I thought that was great. I thought there were missing scenes and throughout, like Sif, where was she this whole time? Like, still didn't explain, or like what happened to her during the entire film? Like after she lost her arm, like what happened to her? Like nothing. She was only there for one scene. That's it. It was really annoying. And I felt like some of the CGI, like when we saw like that, like like the talking head of the boy in the sea. Axel, yeah. I thought that was a bit cringy. Very cringy. They had so much money. They could have put effort in that or something. And one thing that really, really bugs me, they brought in Jane back. She became the mighty Thor, this great heroine fighting to save lives, and then in the end, cut her off. What was the flipping point? I mean, before the film, we all thought like maybe Thor might die and then Jane would take up the title and become a member of the Avengers. But then you brought in this great character who stands out and becomes so great, and you just killed her off. I mean, it was a bit irritating. Why do people do that? You bring in something good like Gore, like such a great villain, and then you kill them off in the end of the film. Just leave them to live. I don't care if they kill the next
the villains.
I don't care if they kill the next few people in the future films or something. Just let them live. They got so many. They're so interesting. Oh, and also I felt like in the ending with Thor, I thought there was the ending felt a bit forced. Like Thor has to be like Thor was raising Gore's daughter, and I thought that was sweet, but I felt it was a bit forced. Like it felt a bit misplaced. Like to have that Thor sort of ending been put in for Thor, like Thor has to take care of this child now. Like who made that decision, or like why does it have to end that way? If you get what I mean.
Right, we're just gonna quickly go through reasons why people don't really like Phase 4, and we're gonna just talk about it just quickly. So I guess the first one perhaps most people have is that there's a lack of connection or build-up in Phase 4. Yeah. And another point that was pointed out, which I didn't even realize, was that the amount of content that we've had so far in Phase 4 is almost the exact same length as all of the projects that we had in the Infinity Saga, which is crazy.
Yikes, that's a lot.
Grace, what do you think? Is there a lack of connection?
I think there is, because I think like from phase one, we were introduced about like some of the bits of like Infinity Stones with we're getting to know about Thanos, and we all knew that was gonna lead us to something big in phase three. I feel like here, like in phase four, we're getting so many different things, like widely spread, like so many ideas. So like we're knowing the existence of the multiverse, we're knowing that a few internals are being captured and Judgment Day is going to come. And we also know that something bad is going to happen on Earth about like the Thunderbolts or like Sharon's real criminal motives with the government. I mean, I feel like there's so many different things happening at the same time, and they're not very connected at all. If you get what I mean. So
Yeah.
I felt like we know that in like, if you remember Doctor Strange #1, that had that was connected to Thor 3, because we know like Thor came in. But it's like every film in in phase 1, 2, and 3, they were all basically on themselves, but they all had like small connections to something like quite close and quite clear to understand. Whereas here, I felt like there's so many ideas happening and we're just a bit lost, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was perfectly said. Yeah, there is a bit of a separation between each project. Sure, some of them have links, like we saw about Black Widow and Hawkeye, but they're very tiny links. So
Yeah.
there is definitely a lack of connection, but
Mm.
I sort of don't mind it too much, because I get that they have to build this all up, or like, it has to start from scratch, because it has to start from someone, because it's a whole new saga. But I think there definitely should be a bit more of a connection, because it doesn't make sense how all of this is happening in the same universe and still it's doesn't seem to
It's
be affecting each other.
Yeah, I know, that's what I mean. Like if you remember in the end of Avengers in phase 1, we first were introduced Thanos, and we all knew like he was gonna be like the bad guy. Like we all knew, like we didn't knew at the big there, but we knew he was gonna be something big. Well, I felt like there's nothing like that in phase 4. Like we don't know if there's gonna be something big happening, or like maybe Galactus or Mephisto. Just I feel like we are getting like little like links or like some connections, but I feel like it's not enough, because we're all getting so many different things at the same time. We don't know what should we be looking at, or where should we be thinking at, or something. Just so many things to develop, and uh, just a, it's just a bit scramble at the moment. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Would you say there's too many new characters?
No, I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't think so, because I feel like we are getting like all some characters, like we're getting to know like better characters, side characters, like Falcon or Wanda or Bucky, or we're getting to know Shang-Chi or Kamala. I feel like it's all good, because that was like us in phase 1. We were getting to know Thor, Iron Man, Captain, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Hulk. We were all getting to know them, and we barely know them. And this is like phase 1. We're getting to know new characters, which is great, because they're all going to come together at some point.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's too many characters. I think the issue just lies with having a connection between the characters, which we've had for some, but it just relies totally on that. The only person who seems to really be having a connection everywhere is Wong, which is crazy. He seems to be getting around everywhere.
That's true.
So,
He's everywhere.
yeah. Do you think they've made the projects a bit too short? Like, if we take for movies, for example, I think the longest we've had for phase 4 has been Spider-Man No Way Home and Eternals, and the rest have been just about that 2-hour mark.
I do think they were quite short. Like you said about Thor: Love and Thunder, if Thor was a bit longer, we would have get more scenes about like Gore or Sif, just more. But like if they did do a bit longer, then we can get more scenes, and like just it would makes more sense for the film basically, and the characters.
Yeah, I agree. I think there is definitely room for development within certain shows or certain plot points and stuff.
In every Marvel film, they have to bring in. If they're doing something, they have to do it for a reason. if that makes sense. Like Wanda became bad, and that led Doctor Strange trying to go through the multiverse to save a child, and then meet the Illuminati, and then something else will happen in the future. There has to be something, and I feel like it having a lack of like reasonable decisions that are not happening. That makes sense.
Yeah. Do you think there are too many famous actors in Phase 4? Because if we think about the Infinity Saga, we started off with these actors and actresses who we sort of knew, but we didn't know as well. But for Phase 4, we are definitely seeing a bit of a mix. We're seeing actors that we've never really seen before, and we're seeing actors such as Angelina Jolie, who we know, like Salma Hayek, for example. Like we both know them, we've seen them.
Yeah. I feel like we do get a mix. I feel like we are getting a few familiar, some famous faces, but I also glad that we're getting some new ones like Miss Marvel or just like new faces would be great, because I feel like just refresh some like styles and like just don't make it all about like famous people in like big films. Just make it like new and different.
Yeah. I don't think there's a problem with it. I think they're doing good. Like Grace said, there is a good mix.
Yeah.
I just hopefully they keep up with that, because we really don't want to see faces that we see all the time.
Yeah,
Pop
definitely.
up again and again and again. All right, another issue is starting afresh, because we're getting a whole new saga. So it's so detached, and we've also had so many of the key characters from the last saga not in this one, like Iron Man or Captain America. Is that an issue?
Truthfully, I don't think it is, because I think we're getting like new characters who are quite similar to the old ones, such as like Ironheart, or maybe Sam as Captain America, and Bucky is coming back. Kate Bishop as Hawkeye. I think it's great that we're getting like new faces coming in. I mean, it's great we still got we got the old characters like from Phase 1 to Phase 3. But I think it's great because they probably want a break. Great to get give new actors a chance to just take position. And I don't think it would be much of an issue, because it'd be great to explore like different characters in these films.
Yeah, I definitely agree, but I sort of don't. I would have liked a bit more of a paved way, sort of. Like I think Avengers Endgame just ended with literally like everybody dead, like Black Widow, Iron Man, Captain America. He's probably not dead, but he might be dead. We don't know what happened. So that's also another thing that we don't know. But yeah, do you think there's too many new projects, like too many movies and TV shows? Like I told you that fact before, that whole of Phase 4 is literally the same exact length as the Infinity Saga. So do you think there's too much just happening?
Like I said before, I feel like there's so many things we are absorbing so many things. I'm not complaining, because I'm glad that they're giving us like so many things, so many great things to watch and just to try out. I think it's great. Like Eternals was new and I loved it. Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, Spider-Man, it was all great. I don't think I'm complaining. I just feel like if you're doing something like those kind of films, I hope they just make sure they're great, and they have to make a great impact to the future films. So if they're doing so many, I say give us a try, but they have to be worth it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that was said perfectly. How about bad mid and post-credit scenes? Because like you said before, we had that Doctor Strange post-credit scene that led to Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
So do you think we are in the age of Phase 4 having really not so impactful mid and post-credit scenes?
I agree. Yeah, there's not many impactful mid credits. So Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. I mean, we get to see a new character like Clea, but I don't feel like there's gonna be impact. It was just for Doctor Strange 3, but nothing else really. Spider-Man, no. Internals. Shang-Chi could be Avengers, because we saw Captain Marvel and Bruce and Wong. the TV shows, no, it's just like I said, there's a lot lack of connections. Like we don't know what we're seeing in the future. We don't know what to. We can't predict what's going to happen because the mid credits are not exactly telling us what's going to happen next. I mean, they're going to tell us like their sequel films or like what's going to happen in their own solo films, but nothing bigger, if that makes sense. Like if you remember in Thor 2, when Sif was coming to the Collector and to give her one Infinity Stone, we know it's going to be something about like God is a galaxy or something about more Infinity Stones, but in this, nothing,
Yeah.
nothing big.
Yeah. It just reminds me of that credit scene we had for Hawkeye, which was absolutely terrible. Like, do you remember it?
Yeah.
Oh, such a letdown. Oh.
Whoever thought that idea, fire them.
But yeah, we definitely need to see better mid-credit, post-credit scenes because that is what makes people excited because they're thinking, oh my God, there's a connection, which is what we talked about at the beginning, the main reason. Do you think our expectations are too high? Do you think we're expecting so much because we had the Infinity Saga, which was absolutely amazing, and now we're expecting the same for the Multiverse Saga, which we should, but do you think perhaps we're just expecting too much and we're expecting it to be exactly the same as the Infinity Saga?
God, you're really going hard on these questions. For me, I feel like because there's been the previous films have been so great, like Ant-Man, Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy. They've all been great, so I am expecting them to still be great as well. I don't know, but now I feel like let's not hope for the best and just prepare for the worst. Let's just keep it steady.
I could definitely say for the shows that I wasn't excited for, like Hawkeye and Miss Marvel, I absolutely love them more. So I think for me, definitely, I think my expectations are too high.
Yeah, I think I feel like I'm expecting too much. Like for Miss Marvel, I thought like big final fight or something, and none of that. I felt it was great. It was still great. The characters were great. The story was good, but I felt like we didn't get much. If that makes sense. And there's a little bit same for Thor, and just I do think we are expecting too much.
And the last one, catering to the younger audiences. Because if we take, for example, like the Defenders saga or the Netflix Marvel shows, we've seen so much more blood. We've seen violence like we've never seen in the MCU at all. So do you think that we've come to this age and this phase and now it's become such a big problem because you've got to think about setting the movies or shows in such a way that it's okay for the younger audience to watch?
Yeah, I do think we need to be careful about who was showing us to, because I thought like in Guardians Galaxy, when I thought Ronan was a bit of a violent person because he smashed someone's head. I thought it was too much for kids. And now compared to like Doctor Strange, I thought, okay, that's a bit too far. But yeah, I do think we need to be more concerned about like our action, like the actions, like the blood fights and all that, because yeah, I mean, this is still for kids. This whole franchise is all about encouraging kids to become greater than what they think. It's not meant to be violent. It's not meant to be like John Wick or like Kill Bill or something. It's just meant to be like a fun action pack.
Yeah, I think this is definitely a big issue because it's being catered for kids. We are seeing just not enough of these characters that usually act so differently. Like if we were to have Ghost Rider, he would be completely toned down. If we were to have the Punisher, he'd be completely toned down. So I think there needs to be a separation, and it's really hard to do because kids really love the MCU. Like the amount of kids I grew up hearing like talking about Marvel stuff, and it's their world. It's literally what they talk about, the playground and stuff. So it's tough. but I think there is an issue that it's starting to become dumbed down. I don't want to sound horrible, but it is becoming sort of catered for children, which is sort of limiting the potential that the MCU has and could have. Right. So I think we've discussed so many issues. I think the main issues that jumped out was a lack of connection. It was some stuff was just too short. There is sort of a villain problem.
Yeah.
And I mean, mid and post credit scenes, our expectations, the whole younger audience versus an older audience sort of thing. So there is definitely an issue for Phase 4, but I just want to wrap up with saying, for me personally, that I don't think it's such a massive issue, because I think this is all going to come together perfectly, just from what we've heard from San Diego Comic-Con, like how it is going to be broadcast, like from Phase 4 to Phase 5 and Phase 6. Like there is a clear path, and I don't think there is a problem. I think as long as they do Phase 5 properly and Phase 6, if there is no connectedness between them, then I don't know what they're doing.
It's a shame, because I felt like, I do agree, because I felt like they've worked so hard in the writing rooms. They've thought of so big in like from Phase 1 to Phase 3, and I do hope you're right at that, like all the connections in Phase 4 are linked together in the end of Phase 6. I hope they just got a clear idea about what they're doing. Otherwise, they're just driving through a mist and I have no idea where they're heading off to. They just need to get a straight aim and just know what's going on. And make it clear for the audience to understand. Because frankly, lack of connection, just like what Emily said, it has to be resolved. Otherwise, it's just going downhill a bit. Sorry, Marvel. So, guys, that's our discussion today about what's wrong with Phase 4. If you guys have any thoughts about Phase 4 and about the problems it's having, please tell us down below in our comments about your thoughts, and how do you think they're going to be, like, how do you think it could be fixed? And before you leave, please make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell down below. And stay updated with our videos. Check out our channel. We got plenty of like discussions and debates as well about Marvel, Disney, or reviews and reaction videos, pranks, games, so many things. Please check them out. Also look at our social account, Twitter, Instagram. Follow us as well, and we could follow you. And check our website. It tells us about us, the team. And thank you for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye.